L'amour de ma vie.
Yeah, it's a great track.
The end of that song.
Yes,
This is the first time I've ever done this in the history of this podcast. I put emojis in my notes.
Wow.
And I put the eye emojis at the end of that because the end where she uses a little bit of autotune.
Yeah. See what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
I like that.
The complexity. She's not mastered. Don't want to say mastered yet, but she's stunning when it gets more complex.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers. Make sure you like this video, leave us a comment, let us know what your favorite song of this album is, and of course, make sure you're subscribed. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather, and we're here with His Royal Highness, a.k.a. the Bunny, King Grant.
Welcome back, people. We're back with Billie Eilish this time. Hit me hard and soft. An oxymoron. And if you've read one of her interviews, I think it was with the Rolling Stone, she said she liked this title specifically because it kind of didn't make sense. It's oxymoron.
Wow.
So, hit me hard and soft. Billie Eilish, one of the artists of the 2020s, probably one of the most important artists of the 2020s. Big time Gen Z artist. She's only 22. So she is a leader in the pack in that way. Right? She's a leader of the Gen Z pack when it comes to, I want to say, pop music right now. So she's dropped a new album. We reviewed one of her albums before. Unfortunately, we didn't get to review When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Because I think that's my favorite project by her. But we reviewed Happier Than Ever. And I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for the next Billie Eilish project, not going to lie to you.
I think I basically spoke it into existence last week when we talked about what are we waiting for to come out.
Yeah.
And then
new Billie.
just like that, we got new Billie. Where did you come in as a Billie Eilish fan? Like, I don't think we've ever talked about that even off the pod, but what is the first Billie Eilish you heard? When did you first know about her? When did you kind of come into your purview?
I knew about Don't Smile at Me. I only knew about it.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you. My first interactions with Billie Eilish, I just knew about the album. She was like this girl that was she had silver hair. She always had like crazy hair colors. She's like, just sitting on the cover. I knew about it. Wasn't tuned in because this was 2017. Pretty sure I was listening to like Juice Wrld back then.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I was in the Juice Wrld and YBN Namir and YBN Corday.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think about who else was happening at
X
that time.
maybe?
Yeah, maybe X. So I was not tapped in until Where We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Came out. That dropped. Then I was also aware, but then everybody was like, it's actually Heat, so I had to tap in.
Okay.
And that's where I first got exposed to Billie Eilish.
I'm surprised that you weren't tapped in right away. This might be one of the first instances where there's music from a white woman that you weren't automatically interested in.
Stop it right there. Stop it right there.
So I think this is an interesting case where you were aware, but not tapped in. Billie was one of my early favorites. As I said this on last week's pod. 2017, Don't Smile at Me. I was in. Like, I was a huge Billie fan. I was playing her a lot on my radio show. And I want to say that at that point, I didn't foresee her becoming what she is now. Like, I had no idea of what everyone else was thinking of Billie. I just thought it was a girl makes cool music. She could sing really well. I'm into it. And so to see now where she is basically this big pop star, 72 million monthly listeners, it's almost like it's a complete different artist. And I'm happy for her, but I can be real, I did not see this coming in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, I was only exposed to the time where it was the meteoric rise.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it was like this overwhelming crash of adulation where I was like, holy shit, it was good.
Yeah.
I have I brought the vinyl for it, but I wasn't prepared to her to be like the mega star that she is today. And again, she's only 22, so she's kind of like a virtuoso.
No, she is like a child prodigy.
Yeah.
in a sense. And I think why I'm bringing up where we started with Billie Eilish, because I feel like I have a different outlook than I feel like a lot of fans. 'Cause I feel like a lot of fans only know the pop in Billie Eilish. And I think that the pop in Billie Eilish is viewed different from when she was the low-key Billie Eilish. And I think that kind of difference in how she's being viewed is a part of how she's being viewed today, where you have one group that views her a certain way and the masses that view her a different way. This is not our first Billie Eilish review. We reviewed her sophomore album, Happier Than Ever. Now, do you remember what score you had for that project?
So I think I gave it a 6 because I barely remember that project. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that was one of the more underwhelming things that have come out of Billie Eilish. Because I did go back and listen to Don't Smile at Me, and Happier Than Ever kind of just left me underwhelmed.
Yep.
I thought the aesthetic was cool, like when the presentation of it, where she went to I think she's I don't know if she's a natural blonde or not, but she had blonde hair, and there was like a lot of white, light browns, gold, et cetera, et cetera. I was okay. I'm like, okay,
Vibes.
Yes, there's a vision.
Okay.
And then when I remember hearing it, I was like, there is a lack of vision aesthetically when it comes to the production. And I do like what she writes about, though. Her writing is pretty good, but there was a little bit of lack of production, cohesion. Because I remember we were talking about Bossa Nova.
Yes.
On that album at some point. And I think I gave it a 6. I think I did.
So you're actually incorrect. And I want to say this is interesting because I feel like her music is in this group where it's one thing in the moment and a totally different thing after the fact. You gave it a 7.5.
I'm genuinely surprised, but I'd never listen to it anymore.
And that's probably the, I guess, lowest rated 7.5 you've ever given. I gave it a 7.
I think her writing is good though.
But I think she kind of came in this kind of competent level of it's gonna be at least decent. Like, we're not gonna have these songs that are just unlistenable. Maybe I'm not gonna run to them, but she's not making these songs that are like, yo, what the fuck is this? That's not really been her bag. So I think that Happier Than Ever was a little bit more of that. And then last but not least, before we get into production, I want to read a bit of what she said about the project and talking about the cover. I'm not the cover, the name of the project.
Yeah.
Hit Me Hard and Soft, which I think is interesting because we've mentioned it before of these artists who are going from being a young girl as an artist to becoming a woman. And I think that Hit Me Hard and Soft maybe wouldn't have been the title 2 albums ago. I think this is clearly, you talked about that article where she talks about growing up a little bit. But she says, Hit Me Hard and Soft does exactly as the title suggests. Hits you hard and soft both lyrically and sonically while bending genres and defying trends along the way. Now you're going to see if we agree with all of that. But that's what she said.
Right.
That's what she said this album is. Do you have a favorite Billie Eilish song, basically of all time?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'm just a basic bitch. And I just like Bad Guy. And I think I could just be that person. I'm going to be that person. That's okay. It's just like, some people's favorite Michael Jackson song is Beat It. Okay? It's Thriller. Some people just love Thriller. I love Bad Guy.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's
Is that allowed?
That's allowed.
Okay. I just want to make sure if that's allowed.
Let us know in the comments. Is that allowed? Is Démar canceled as a Billie Eilish fan for liking Bad Guy? I think Billie's one of those artists who it's not as bad for like her popular songs. Her popular songs are still some of her better songs.
Yeah.
I think she's rare in that way where some artists, their popular songs is like almost random compared to what their actual good songs are. She's not like that. For me,
it's either that or I'll say here, just for the Billie heads, the eyelashes?
The eyelashes? Is that a real thing?
I don't know. Okay. Whatever her fandom name is.
Okay, the Bills.
The Bills. I Didn't Change My Number is a good song too.
Okay.
From Happier Than Ever. I like that one as
well. A little redemption.
Oh, I think that one's cool because I think she is like, again, her songwriting is good, and that song is like kind of like sinister. It's like, I didn't change my number, just fuck you. I just blocked you. like I just blocked your phone number.
I like her when she has that energy. I feel like she does good with that. I think her number is a good one. For me, it's You Should See Me in a Crown. Not a deep cut either. There's plenty to choose from that are not deep cuts, but that's an energy from her that I didn't expect when that song came out.
Okay.
And I think she did pretty good on it. I don't know if she's going to do it again. This album seems like probably not. But it showed some versatility. I said, okay, Billy, you can go do the hard hitting shit too. Starting from the top of the project, I wanted to ask you about Skinny
Okay.
as the intro thematically. What did you think about that? Because I think that this album probably the most anticipated album she's had in her career. And so I think having that be the start of the project does say something about what you're kind of entering into. And let's say there's 10 songs, 43 minutes. Great sweet spot in terms of time for this project. But what do you think of Skinny as the intro?
I think it's a good reintroduction to her vocals. Again, she's trying to make it like lush, soft. She's kind of like if you're in like a library, right? And you see a dusty book and like there's a dusty table. You drop the book on the table and you see like that dust billowing up and like swirling around. That's what her vocals are like.
Wow.
So I think that it's a good reintroduction in that way. Very breathy, very whispery. She is one of those whisper singers that sings like this all the time. And I think that works. And I did think that it was good in the sense that it's a strong songwriting track because she's talking about weight loss. I mean, Billie Eilish is somebody that openly said that. I think she said that she was like super addicted to porn at one point.
Yeah.
And she's a 22-year-old woman / girl.
23.
23.
That's a huge difference there between, obviously.
Not really to me. I'm not drinking. You know, that's out of this. You know, you got to recognize shit that's out of bounds.
That's a Leo spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't even like Leonardo. Anyways, I think that having like these body image issues, the insecurity about one's body, especially Billie Eilish, who always wore for the longest time, she was wearing super baggy clothes.
Yeah.
Specifically because she didn't want people to perceive her below her neck.
Yep.
So I think that is cool. I think it's a good intro. Also kind of sets the tone for the rest of the project, which is it's more serious. This is probably the most serious out of all the albums that she's released, I think.
Yeah.
It's really personal.
And I think the success of that song she did for Barbie, What Was I Made For?
Yeah.
Is a part of that. Because I think that the difference in time between this album and the last one, I think her fan base got older. I think, even at the time when I was listening to her, I was older than she was. But I think that what she's done in between these two projects has put her on the map for that 35 to 45 crowd that maybe wouldn't be tapped into her before. I like it as an intro because I think the subject matter prepares us for the project.
Yeah.
I think that is like when starting with a song like Skinny and what that song is about, you're like, okay, I see where we're headed. Like whatever comes after this is not as much of a surprise. And I think that's a good way to start. And I think, in terms of the sonics of this song, it's a very good warm-up because Lunch right after it is the one that kind of like, okay, she's doing a little bit of something different here. It's very skeletal. I'm not sure I feel about it. I don't really love that song.
Yeah, me neither.
The synths at the end I like.
Me too.
But I want to say this at the top because this is something I think I've wrote down more than once in my notes for this review, is that there aren't as many songs on this project that are Billie Eilish specific.
I agree.
And I think that's my biggest issue with this album as a whole.
I agree as well.
I love we're on the same page. Even though the songs are not bad, she has had this unique ability to make songs that are like uniquely her. Even with whisper singing or when she belts, in both lanes, she can make a song that's like, okay, Billie Eilish is the only one making this. You can't steal her sauce.
Yeah.
She's not, that sauce is not on here on this one.
And not on Lunch. Go ahead.
Well, it's a few times. A few times it's on here, but for the most part, it's not. And on Lunch was when I was like, oh, she's really doing this. So the Lunch was one that I was like really iffy about.
Yeah, I think that it also kind of starts with Skinny. Like a lot of this album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, is guitar driven.
Yeah.
Right? Which is not typical for her music. I mean, kind of on the previous album, but not on her breakout. And I think that her adherence, for her to be somebody that adheres to the guitar and be like, this is going to be my instrument for an album, I don't really understand it. Because I think that Billie Eilish, right, the way that she became popular, right, and how she broke out into everybody's consciousness is that she had a really distinct sound. right? And it was like, again, she was like 18 when when we sleep, where do we all go, when that came out. So to go from somebody that has like such a distinct sound, right? And then, you know, it's like dark and it's moody and it's whispery, but it's insanely popular. To go from that to just, I want to say almost run of the mill guitar driven music.
Say it, stand on business.
Doesn't make sense to me. Like everybody already listens to your music. Like this is the Drake issue, but almost in reverse. Like you're making such a distinct sound, like a distinct version of music that everybody listens to. You're one of the most popular artists on earth right now. Multiple Grammys, so you have the white rubber stamp.
Yep.
Okay, and then you got, you know, just people tuning in general, young people tuning in. So there's no reason to deviate. Like you can just be more me. You're just doing the me thing is the popular thing.
Yes.
Not me trying to fit into a mold to become more popular, right? So I don't get why she's doing that. Like I don't get it. Like songs like Birds of a Feather, Wildflower, The Greatest, all these like guitar driven like slower tracks that are like very, for her honestly, kind of rudimentary. I don't understand it. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it reminds me kind of what we saw on Harry Styles' last project.
Yeah.
Where we were like, you don't need to go down this lane. Like there's plenty lanes to go down. This is not the one for you. And I'm confused as well why she chose this, because I think Birds of a Feather to me is a decent song.
This is a Walmart song, bro.
I have in here, it's underdone and a little flat.
Yeah.
But why I say it's a decent song is this is a decent song for somebody else. Billie don't need to make this.
Yeah.
There's someone else, this could have been their breakout song. Like, in all honesty, you know, pretty flat breakout song, but this is a hit in a different world and it doesn't need to be Billie's song. So it's like making those choices to me, I think is so odd. And I wonder what that is about the direction of going away from what works for her. Someone I think of a lot is A$AP Rocky. He talked about at the beginning of his career, he wanted to prove he can make hits. And there's songs like Wild for the Night or Fucking Problems, which are kind of different from the rest of his catalog completely after that. But he had these early hits in his career, Peso, What's Up, that were his sound that people loved. And he basically hasn't, you know, lived there since. And it's kind of like trying to prove yourself, so it takes you in so many different directions that you never end up back to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel where Billie is now, because Billie has showed she's good at doing so many different things that, to me, something like Birds of a Feather didn't need to be one of them.
Yeah, because to describe it, I guess, for the YouTube listener, it's like, I can't really describe it other than like your generic pop song with like a guitar and shaker and some rising vocals, and like you've heard that, like Corinne Bailey Rae has made that a million times.
Yes.
Taylor Swift has made this a million times.
It's very Costco, like very Costco.
But I don't understand why Billie Eilish is making a song like that. Like it just doesn't fit anything about her. Her personality, her artistic vision in previous albums, and the aesthetic currently, like it doesn't make any sense. That's
why I mentioned earlier about her having an older audience now. That's what I think that's for. Because I don't think that her younger fans are dying to hear her do her Taylor Swift impression. I don't, like, is there someone out there? Let me know in the comments.
Yeah,
is there someone out there saying like, I wish Billie would do some Taylor Swift type music? Because I like these two, the Wildflower and The Greatest, are two standouts to me. Because I think when she does that slower kind of acoustic guitar sound with like, you know, a rim shot instead of a snare for the drums, she does well in that because her songwriting is strong and her vocals are strong. And so when we compare it to Taylor's last album, where Taylor had a lot of slower songs, it's like if your songwriting isn't there and your vocals aren't there, these slow songs drag even more. And the Wildflower and The Greatest are two that I think this is where she can really thrive in this lane. I think that The Greatest to me is the better out of those two, personally. But I think I don't want an album of those. Like, I don't want an album of all Wildflower and The Greatest. But my real big issue is when she steps away from that sound, because I think, to me, that sound has to stay. I think
which one?
Wildflower, The Greatest.
What?
I think she is some of the best at doing that. I think when all the artists get out their guitar and it's like, we're gonna be deep now. We saw Miley Cyrus do it. Taylor does it. I think she does it better than all of them. So I think that is part of her career, part of her, you know, what she does has to stay.
I think it would be popular, but artistically, it's her. I think her worst version of herself.
I don't think it's her best, but I think she does it better than they do. I think it's, to me, I've seen it in pop music enough now where it's like it's gonna be on the album. Like someone's gonna have it.
You know what? I think I need to frame my thinking about Billie Eilish for people. I think she is capable of being one of the like greats. Okay.
I agree, yeah.
So when we're talking about her music like in an artistic way, when you're doing like a song like this, I'm like, this is beneath you artistically. Like you've been doing things that are more interesting, more dynamic, have more pop to them, like explosivity to them.
Yeah.
So coming to be like, oh, I'm just gonna make a bunch of guitar tracks and be like, we're past this. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that making these songs, like you can be good at them. I think Wildflower is well written. I think all the songs are well written. She's a very good writer. And I think her vocals on it are pretty good too. But everything else that you've done in your career is more interesting and again, more popular. Right? So I think that's my framing. So when we're talking about, oh yeah, she's doing this better than this person or that person, I'm like, she's doing a lot of things better than everybody.
Fair.
So I don't think we need to get to this.
Raise the bar.
Yeah, we need to like, we're at the small, this is like a very small portion of music, but it's very popular. Guitar driven, like pop ballads.
Yeah.
But it is one of the least complex versions of music that exists today. And she's done more complex things better than anyone else. So to do the simple thing better than other people isn't really impressive to me because you've done complex better than other people.
And I think it's the volume for me as well. I don't mind having one or two of these.
Right.
One or two of them, you have that to serve. Because I think, like, I always think about syncing when it comes to these big artists. Because when you're a bigger artist, you're more likely to get synced some of these places because people know the song or know the voice.
Right.
So songs like The Greatest and Wildflower, I could see that in a rom-com trailer.
Yeah, like, for sure.
You know, so I understand why these exist, but I don't think that needs to be a big portion of what she does. My favorite part of this project.
I was about to ask you. Let's go.
Okay, L'amour de ma vie.
Yeah, it's a great track.
The end of that song.
Yes,
this is the first time I've ever done this in the history of this podcast. I put emojis in my notes, and I put the eye emojis at the end of that because the end where she uses a little bit of autotune.
Yeah. See what I'm talking about? This is exactly what I'm talking about.
I like that.
The complexity, she's not mastered. Don't want to say mastered yet, but she's stunning when it gets more complex. I think this is probably one of the first times where she's really, really, really going for the autotune.
Yeah.
Right? So that, to me, was amazing. I thought it was cool because it was kind of like, I wrote down, this reminds me of After Hours combined with 100 Gex.
Oh, right? I like that.
And I was like, it sounds like, what is it? Dylan Brady is the vocalist for 100 Gex.
Yes.
But then the production style was kind of like After Hours. And I'm like, this is unique. This is a unique combo. But she can do shit like that, right? So that's what I'm talking about, you know?
That's what I think. I'm happy we are like have so much of the same notes in here. It makes me feel better that we're right about what we're wanting from her in the first place. Because to me, I thought that was a definitely an intentional choice to put that at the end of the song. Because that end could have been a whole song. Like, L'amour de ma vie is a good song regardless. But that, again, like you said, After Hours meets 100 Gex, that could have been its own song, and that could have been its own either viral hit, radio hit, whatever. And so I think that this is like her easing into this kind of experiment in a sense where it's like, I don't want to kind of throw you guys off hearing me do autotune. Let me have something familiar first, bring in the autotune second. But when you said about her being one of the greats, I agree with that. And someone who I've thought about while kind of building my review is Miley Cyrus and her trajectory as an artist. Like Billie Eilish started young and kind of has gone through a bunch of different stages in her sound. From early when she was known as more of a country artist in the Hannah Montana days.
Those are the days.
Till she was just a straight pop with like Party in the USA days where it was pop but still a kind of hip hop R&B influence. Yeah. And then, the Mike Will Made It era.
What an era. Have you seen on TikTok? People have been begging for that to come back.
Wow.
You've not seen that?
I haven't seen that. You guys send me.
People are like, oh, I remember when, Miley Cyrus was black?
Yeah.
That's
Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber, black at the same time with the same haircut.
Yeah, in 2014, that was a great time, where she was wearing the Michael Jordan dress.
Oh my
craziness, man.
So
The nonsense.
Think of all these eras with Miley Cyrus to where she is now, maybe having the most commercial success of her career.
Yeah.
Basically in her like, legacy act pop era as an older act, even though she's in her early 30s, an older act. And I think Billie has that in her where she can dive into these different places and succeed. Yeah. I don't think she'll take the same criticism Miley Cyrus did. I feel like that's not going to happen. Because I think that she feels more accepted in the Black community already.
Who, Billie Eilish?
Yeah.
I think so.
Than Miley Cyrus.
Because she's been low-key jacking Missy Elliott's style for years now.
Not even low-key, but yes.
Low-key because I think that her fandom doesn't know.
Yes,
they don't know
the
that.
other 23-year-olds don't know.
Yeah, but like the 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds, 30-year-olds, etc. They're like, oh yeah, she's dressing like Missy Elliott. Like that's like a textbook thing.
100%. So I when I see that for her of like her going these different lanes, when I hear the end of L'amour de ma vie, I think about, are we ever gonna get 8 of these and see her going that way? Because I think we got an album of Miley Cyrus doing hip hop. We still got Wrecking Ball. Don't get it twisted. Wrecking Ball's still a thing. We also got 23 with Wiz Khalifa and Mike Will made it. So for me, I'm wondering when that will happen for her because there's no features on here. And is there someone you want to see Billie do a feature with? Because I think the names are endless. The name that came to mind for me, which I think this is more her lane of features in general, is Anishko. I feel like
wow, that would be weird as fuck.
But I think that's the lane of features that I want to see her do. I don't need the Harry Styles Billie Eilish duet. Keep it.
Yeah.
I want to see her do a song with Yeet. I want to see her go a little left.
A song with Yeet would be crazy, especially in a song like Bittersweet, where it's got that electronic distortion on it too. A little Yeet action on that.
Come on.
Would be crazy. I was thinking, you said Yeet, but I was thinking of somebody, Don Toliver.
Don Toliver would be a great one.
Yeah, I think that to match her, because she's a great vocalist. She's actually so good as a vocalist. She's so much range. I think that having somebody else who also has like a really distinct voice to match what she's doing would be awesome. So like on Bittersweet, Yeet on that, like
that would be crazy.
That would be pretty crazy, right? Especially like near the ending or at the beginning where it's really doing that like that right? That would be a cool Yeet intro or something like that. So I think that her combos, she has to think outside of the box she is a white art, she's white. So she can't be like thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna get Taylor Swift or I'm gonna get Lana Del Rey or some shit like that. That shit's not gonna work. Like it's not, maybe it'll work, but it's not gonna sound as good as like if she had Yeet or Travis Scott or some shit like that.
It's defining what work means.
Yeah.
Because I think those songs will do well commercially.
Yeah.
But will they be better songs than her being on her own? And in our Grammy episode, we had this clip where we talked about who is the Grammy's favorite white woman.
Yeah.
Right? And
she was a part of that group.
Her name came up. And why I brought that up is you're talking about her copying Missy Elliott. The features we all named are all black people. Yeah. And I think that between her aesthetic and just who she's around, she's been aligned with blackness without actually working with black artists.
I agree.
And I think that is the line that she's kind of riding of, can I still keep my like white identity in a sense? And someone who's I think done a great job of that, Lana Del Rey. She just announced a couple weeks ago she has a new song coming out with Quavo. She's known to collaborate with Playboi Carti and A$AP Rocky. And so I think that is the lane that Billie is gonna eventually go into, where it's like, the whites still know I'm white.
Yeah.
But I can work with the blacks, and I don't, because I think, talking about Miley Cyrus, that's what I think she didn't do well. She went almost too far in the hip hop lane. They were like, you're not with us anymore.
She left, and then she left, and she died in the wool basically, and then she was like, "What are you doing with all?" Like she was with Michael Made It, bro.
No, it was
Wiz
random.
Khalifa, like she was deep in it, and then now she's out on the other side, and she's like, I don't know. She speaks like she's like a 1970s punk, like
she aged 10 years, like in 2 years.
But she's the same age as us.
Can you tell?
You can't though.
You
can't tell. She seems like she's like 20 years older than us.
Yeah.
Especially her hairstyle is like a crazy hairstyle.
Yeah, the little mullet. So
yeah. So I think that her she even loves Tyler the Creator. Like she openly says like she
Billie?
Yeah.
Oh, Billie
She
loves a lot of
loves
people.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves Tyler the Creator next level. So I think that even on a song like Bittersweet, I noted something that I don't think many people could tell, but it's like around the 2-minute mark where she has like a Juice World type of flow to the things that she's saying.
Mhm.
Maybe I could pull up the exact lyric. Where she's like, I remember on Juice World song, it's like, it's over, right?
Mhm.
And it's like da 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 na 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 na, right?
Yeah,
That's like
she's basically doing that
she,
almost exactly.
yeah, but she makes it longer. Like
Mhm.
for him, it was maybe like three or 4 bars,
Mhm.
but she made that maybe like 6, 7, 8 bars of her song,
Mhm.
and I think that like even in that sense, I can see like her still, let's say, reaching across the aisle, right? And being more influenced by
Mhm.
Black artists. So I do think that she needs to I don't say need is strong. I don't
Yeah.
think she needs to do anything right now. She's
Mhm.
dropped 3 albums with no features, I think.
Yeah.
Um
Well, the first one had one feature,
okay,
Vince Staples.
exactly what we're talking about,
Mhm.
right? So I think that her artistically
Mhm.
would be best. It would serve her art best if she found other Black artists that could um dance on that line with her, right? I think that would work best for
I
her.
think
SZA?
SZA would be a good one. I think that's like an obvious marriage right there.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in how that line is written perception wise. Because I do think that's a big part of it. I think that some artists go too overboard in the sense where they're like, okay, like go hang with them then.
Yeah.
And then people who do it correctly where it's like, okay, you're so cool. Because I do think that behind the scenes, from what I've seen, heard, interviews online, all the rappers know her. Like they're tapped in, they're
Yeah,
all cool
everybody
with
seems to
her.
know her.
Like, so why I brought that up is because on these albums, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, these albums don't have a lot of hip hop influence. There's not features on these albums. So I think that what's happening behind the scenes maybe can make its way into the music.
Yeah.
Someone I thought of is Katy Perry when she was doing songs with Juicy J and Kanye West, and was still considered very much pop.
Yeah.
And it's like that. I think Billie can do a better job of. My last production
Okay.
notes. Okay, this is it before we get to lyrics for me. Blue, the final song on
Yeah.
here. I like that direction from her, but I think the production on this project and why I thought of Blue as like the example for all of it, it's like it's all like a diet version of the production.
Mhm.
Like even the good ones, I don't know, it's not that. I think Bittersweet and L'amour de ma vie, especially at the end, are like the final version of that sound. But Blue to me is like a watered down version of that kind of sound.
Yeah.
With those synths, kind of that like 80s pop influence. And I wonder what that is. It's like everything on this album feels like they said, okay, this is what we're trying to do, but dial it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels a lot less full. And I'm like, why would you choose to have that feeling?
I think that she should lean more into take the jump. And I think that when she does that, it's better. Like it's more interesting. I think on this song, Blue, one thing I did note, this song and the previous song, which we were just talking about, Bittersweet, I think that there is these two songs I could tell like the influences pretty easily. I think for at the very beginning where it's like I tried to love, but it's like I tried to love in black and white. I'm like, that is the yeah yeahs. You know the song Maps?
Yeah, yeah.
You know Maps. You know, like I was like,
wow.
I was like, holy
straight interpolation.
Yeah. So I was like, I just thought that was a really interesting a grab for her, right? I think that
I kind of get it because I'm like, does her fan base know that? Like,
I don't think so.
Like that's a good grab.
Yeah, I don't think so. The same thing with the Juice World thing. I'm like, how many people are like listening to? Because that was on Juice World 999. That's the mixtape, not even the album. That's not even the album, right? So for her to go back and, I know she listens to Juice World.
Yes.
1000% she listens to Juice World. Because if Juice World was alive, I do think he would work with Billie Eilish in a sense. And who's another person I thought of that also pertains to this production and the songwriting? Arlo Parks. Arlo Parks, especially on the Blue, would have been
Blue would have been a good one for Arlo Parks.
Yeah, I feel like I actually think that song is very Arlo Parks right now. So I feel like that's an unlikely and seemingly invisible meeting point, because I don't think people are like Arlo Parks and Billie Eilish.
Yeah,
are the same
they're
artist.
two different places
Yeah.
career wise right now. But I think that my real issue is that she's not taking that jump.
Yeah.
She's not taking that jump, and I think that she's maybe in a place where it's scary to where she can't. And I think we've had a lot of kind of congruency in these pop albums we've done where the sound is all over the place.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
try this sound here. Like, it's like a grab bag of sounds. And it's like, I kind of get it, because the fans I think of in my life who are for these artists aren't into the experimental music.
Mhm.
Like, they don't, there's stuff that we are like, distortion, like.
But the song that broke her out
Mhm.
wasn't like regular, you know? Like, it wasn't like average
Fair.
what pop music sounds
Fair.
like. It was dark, it was slow,
Mhm.
it was quiet, right? So it wasn't some regular bombastic,
Yeah.
here, you know? So I think that she
Mhm.
kind of like knitted herself into a corner, you know, where she became so popular,
Mhm.
right? And then she even had the Barbie song, which is a very straight ballad type of track.
Yep.
So it seems like she's grabbed more and more fans, more and more people, but the type of music that she's grabbed that is adhering to the very new music
Mhm.
is different than what like hopped on when Billie Eilish was Billie Eilish in capital letters. You know what I mean? And I think that it seems as though
Mhm.
she is trying to play to both at the same time, but those are two different people.
That's kind of where I'm at. I
Yeah.
think it is kind of playing to both at the same time, and it's almost like a dumbing down for your audience.
Yeah.
Like, they won't understand this. But I don't think she has to do that. I think that to me, and this is funny, I think the casual fan will follow whatever's hot.
True.
I don't think the casual fan is like, no, I loved Blinding Lights and I want to hear Blinding Lights 10 more times. I think whatever The Weeknd does next, the casual fan will be like, this sounds good too.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of, kind of following the wrong footsteps there. My one set of lyrics is Wildflower.
Okay.
And I think this is one of the songs that is a really good example of her songwriting. I think the story she's telling is very interesting. And why I highlighted this is because Billie Eilish is one of those artists where I think there's a big group of her fans who aren't tapped into the lyrics at all.
I agree.
They're here for the vibes, the sounds, the whispering.
Mhm.
They're not here for the lyrics. And then there are some, and I think this is, to me, is more the fan who was a fan when I was a fan, are the ones who are like, okay, let's hear what she has to say, hear where she's at mentally, hear where she's at emotionally. And on Wildflower, the story she's telling is an interesting one. I'm going to start with the first verse in the pre-chorus. Things fall apart and time breaks your heart. I wasn't there, but I know she was your girl. You showed her the world, but fell out of love, and you both let go. She was crying on my shoulder, and all I could do was hold her. Only made us closer until July. Now I know that you love me. You don't need to remind me. You should put it all behind me, shouldn't I? This is very clear cut, but she has a friend that's in a relationship. Her friend breaks up with their partner, and she is stepping in as the moral support, the emotional support. As you go down towards the end of the song, you see where things turn a little bit, and it says, and I know that you love me, don't need to remind me, want to put it all behind me, but baby, I see her in the back of my mind all the time. Feels like a fever, like I'm burning alive, like a sign, did I cross the line? You say no one knows you so well, but every time you touch me, I just wonder how she felt. Valentine's Day, crying in the hotel. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself. And this is her having a relationship with her friend's partner and feeling guilty about, okay, I was friends with them and they broke up and now they're with me. And I like that she talked about, I see her in the back of my mind all the time. That's such a unique space in this situation in particular. The situation's already crazy.
Yeah.
I've never been in a situation myself. I let people have their things. We don't have to share. But I'm sure there are a lot of people at almost any age who've been in a situation. Démar's dating someone, they break up, and I say, Wagwan, baby girl. I'm sure that happens a lot. But to this song is basically not cheating, but like cheating adjacent, cheating's cousin. You know, like this is like cheating's auntie.
Yeah.
But to have that part in there where she says, "I see her in the back of my mind all the time." This is a rare moment where it's like I'm clearly doing something that is quote unquote wrong, but I feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And the wrong of this is like a very blurred line of like technically they're broken up. So, but I like this accountability on this song of yes, technically broken up, but I'm still not over it. I still feel guilty. I still know this is wrong. And then I want to ask this question before you get to your lyrics because I feel like whatever is in your lyrics is going to relate to this. Is Billie Eilish apologizing?
Yes. Yeah, she is. I think she is. I think she is.
I think she is.
I think she is, but
she's getting healed.
Reluctantly. Maybe a reluctant apology.
There's definitely a fist made first. Like it's Arthur Fist.
Yeah.
And then you get an apology.
I think that she would like do whatever, just happened. And then like maybe like a year or two, she sees you at a party and she's like, yo, I gotta talk to you something about. I did something fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of those.
I think you're right. It's not like a direct apology. Yeah. It's like, oh, I caught you. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry for fucking up your life.
Exactly. That's what I think is coming from Billie Eilish because I think even on L'amour de ma vie, where she says this is during where she breaks up with somebody. She's the person that breaks up with you, right? But then she's kind of like a little bit petty about it. Where this is in the refrain. It isn't asking for a lot for an apology for making me feel like I'd kill you if I'd leave. Sorry. It isn't asking much for an apology for making me feel like it'd kill you if I'd leave. You said you'd never fall in love again because of me. Then you moved on immediately. Bum, 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 bum. I think that's, demanding an apology because you took emotional damage. You're just like, you said you were going to kill yourself if we broke up and you're already seeing somebody else. I think it's funny. It's funny. She's definitely doing it for the humor, but I also, I totally understand that. Like, there's a level of pettiness there that, I think that we all can relate to.
And there's that part that I think everyone deals with it where someone says, I'm not ready for a relationship, and then you see them in a relationship.
Yeah, like 3 weeks later, you're like, wait, what the fuck? What did you just say?
I've been on both sides of that. I've been in the relationship, and I've been also the one who's been like, So I like that because these are things that are almost ageless, relationship problems, romantic relationship problems, where it's like, this is not because she's 22, 23 that, someone 32, 33 can understand that. So I like that. And Billie is getting healed. I think that for where she's at, maybe by the next album we'll get like a real apology.
Well, she's definitely healed. I would say she is in either healed or later stage of healing because on a song like Lunch, where she basically she says this is at the very beginning. She's like, I could eat that girl for lunch. Yeah, she dances on my tongue. Tastes like she might be the one, and I can never get enough, right? So Billie Eilish, up until very recently, sexuality, black box. It was a black box, okay? And then very recently, she came out. But she came out in a way where she's like, wasn't it obvious? And everybody was like, not really, but okay. And I think that a song like Lunch, very gay, extremely gay, okay? She's saying, I could eat that girl for lunch. I mean, if that isn't a Weeknd lyric, I don't,
That's big Abel vibes.
Yeah, like The Weeknd is dropping lyrics like that pretty much every album. So for her to say something like that, and then later on, she's like, she does some storytelling, which on a single to do a storytelling bit is really interesting. Where she's like, call me when you're there. Said I bought you something rare, and I left it under Claire. We're talking about at a hotel. So now she's coming up the stairs. So I'm pulling up a chair and I'm putting up my hair. Baby, I think you were made for me. Somebody write down the recipe. Been trying hard not to overheat. You're just so sweet. Okay, I could go for more. She's getting into it. Okay, so I think that for her to make a sexual story time on your single. I didn't realize she was like that. I didn't realize she was in the Abel vibes. I didn't realize she was on her Usher tip. You know what I mean? But again, notice how I'm referencing more Black artists.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So she's definitely tapped in that way. She talks about, like taking pictures in the mirror. Oh my God, her skin's so clear, blah, blah, blah. So this is a nice storytelling track, even though it's a single. And I think, again, it's a testament to her songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Great songwriter.
Great songwriter.
Great songwriter in so many ways. She can write a hit song. She can write a storytelling song. She actually makes songs about sexuality. Like the spectrum of sexuality. Like having a gay friend.
She always has, yeah.
Yeah, having a gay friend, sex with men, sex with women. Like, it's all over the place. So she's definitely,
That was a real voice crack.
She definitely has the range vocally, lyrically, and we've seen production-wise. So I think that, the songwriting on this is super, super solid. Even on songs I don't like, I think the songwriting is pretty good. Like,
basically every song.
Yeah, Wildflower, where I feel like that song is one, is guitar-led, but I would say it's a little grungier. And it works for me in that way. I think that, the chorus where she's like, but I see her in the back of my mind all the time, like a fever, like I'm burning alive, like a sign that I crossed the line.
Mm-hmm.
The picture of the back of her head, that's a motif that she's been using a lot. But like a fever, like I'm burning alive, like a sign that I crossed the line. Like, that's good shit, bro.
That's that guilt that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Like, she's feeling that guilt of like, I really have done something here. I want to read something that she said about lunch before we get into the end of this podcast. Better than the lyrics is her talking about her own lyrics. Because I think that where Billie is at this point in her career is such a unique spot because she's still very young, but she's been an adult for a few years now as an artist, where it's less taboo for her to speak on her growing up as a woman. And, I'll go back to the Olivia Rodrigo comparison. And when you think about her content compared to Olivia Rodrigo's content, they could be 10 years apart.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Olivia Rodrigo's music is more like angry sounding, but I feel like it's not as emotionally deep as Billie Eilish's.
No, Olivia Rodrigo's music is still angsty teenager.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, like, they're close in age, but I think Billie Eilish is giving more young women growing up and learning about herself. And Olivia Rodrigo is still more, I hate my mom.
Yeah.
So just to see the difference in kind of themes and tones they've taken is so interesting. I guess we're going to see how that goes for the both of them. But on Lunch, you mentioned at the beginning the chorus talking about, I could eat that girl for lunch. She said this in her Rolling Stone interview in late April. That song was actually part of what helped me become who I am, to be real. I wrote some of it before even doing anything with a girl, and then wrote the rest after. I've been in love with girls for my whole life, but just didn't understand until last year. I realized I wanted my face in a vagina.
Happy for her.
So I think that is reflected in the lyrics, of course.
No, you don't say.
Of course, but I think that that part I want to highlight because she's still considered a young artist, but talking like that, being the young high school artist, is not happening. So she's already beyond that. I think Olivia Rodrigo still has a step to take to get out of the angsty teenager. Billie is like, nah, I'm grown. Like, this is what it is. And to have her rise to fame as a teenager, and we're now a couple albums later, and she's like, no, I'm grown now. This is what it is. I think that that's something we haven't really seen from someone this young and this popular, basically ever. And I'm very interested to see how that goes going forward.
Yeah, me too. I think that the darkness of her music also facilitates that. Kind of hard to make dark music, like dark production-wise music, and have it be like emotionally stunted. Like, it's usually usually emotional when you're making music like that. So I think that her growth as a writer is going to be something that I'm looking forward to, just like throughout her career, because every album, she's writing shit on it. Like it's not. I don't. She
Mhm.
doesn't really make a brain dead song. She's not really like that.
No. That and I think what I meant to say at the beginning, talking about her becoming this big artist, I never saw that coming.
Mhm.
Lyrics were the main thing for her when I became a fan.
Yeah.
Like that's what we all came for, was like, oh, like there's this 15-year-old girl writing these deep lyrics.
Yeah.
And so that's been part of, I think, her success. But to see like her have success in these other areas that are not lyrical
Yeah.
is a testament to her versatility,
I
because
think-
that was the main thing at the first point.
Yeah. I think her making music with her brother, because Phineas is the main producer. I think he
Yeah.
produced this entire thing.
Yep. And a lot of writing credits on this too.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, you know, it helps to make deep sounding music, and you
Mhm.
have a relative there,
Yep.
somebody you can speak to, and you can say something that maybe to your friend or let's say an older adult
Mhm.
would be like, this is dumb as fuck. Your like brother, who is I think like a year, they're like the same age or like a year or two
Yeah,
difference.
you're apart.
They can totally resonate with you because they
Mhm.
probably feel the exact same shit in a different way. Like, you know, so I think that helps a lot actually.
Well, we're gonna see, because listen, I don't have any sisters,
Mhm.
but how many brothers and sisters are cool talking about your sister putting a face in a vagina? So as her lyrics,
He can probably relate though.
he could.
So I
But-
feel like that's not a hard thing to jump over for him.
No,
But-
I think relating is fine. We can definitely relate to that. I don't think relating is the issue here. But I do think as her lyrics get going more that direction,
Mhm.
I'm interested to see how that changes their writing relationship.
Mhm.
Because it's like when you have a young cousin who's like, I know you're an adult and you're having sex, but don't tell me
Yeah.
about you having
But
sex.
it's your brother and there's a 1 year difference, and you're talking. I'm
Mhm.
assuming Phineas. I'm assuming,
Mhm.
but maybe Phineas also talks about women in his music.
Mhm.
So if they're both talking about women in their music, it's not a
She's
jump.
more graphic than
It's not a jump.
her.
It's more graphic, but it's not that. But I'm saying it's not like a large jump for the.
I guess
for
that's
the
a comment, because like my female friends who have older brothers,
Yeah.
their dynamic isn't one like that. Like they're cool,
Mhm.
but they're like, I can't tell him certain things.
Yeah.
I think they're probably closer that they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if your friends have made 3 or
Mm.
4 albums together and made multi-million dollars
Yeah.
together.
I
based on
think the money will change a lot. but that's something I'm interested to see, because I do think there's gonna be a point where there is gonna be kind of divergence between the two of them.
I agree. Yeah,
Because I think lyrically she's headed to a place where
he can't follow.
not even he can't follow, but she might not want him there.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of looks like she's speaking more of like what it's really like to be a woman growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and she wants to kind of have that authentic voice.
Yeah.
What this means for her career, I think this is a plus.
Yeah.
I think she's in a space where it's not about the music for her career. I don't think any songs on here. Let's say I think there are a couple songs on here that are gonna make my like Billie Eilish like top 20 playlist. But I don't think this is her best music by far.
Yeah, I think that it's good just because we're listening to Billie Eilish music again, because
Mhm.
the previous one came out in 2021, bro.
Yeah,
It was a while ago.
that's a long time.
Happier Than Ever.
Mhm.
And it's now 2024. Billie Eilish is still important
Mhm.
to everybody, I think. You know, even she has a picture with New Jeans.
Oh
bro.
yeah, yeah.
So she's still a thing.
yes.
And she's been able to, I would say, it's been good for her that she's been able to string like the Oscar winning song with Barbie. That was a big deal for her to
Yes.
maintain relevance. Not even relevance, prominence,
Yeah.
because it was actually a huge deal, that song.
Mhm.
And I think that this is kind of adding on to the rest of the discography. I think that in terms of her artistry, it's probably a step back, if I'm being
Yes.
totally honest with you. But I think that in general, just like career arc, I think it's just a good thing. It's like, okay, we got another Billie project, because we were going to end up going 4 or 5 years without her dropping a full project. You know, that's kind of weird for her.
Yeah, this is her longest gap since
Yeah.
since 2017. It's her longest gap between projects. I think what she still has, and this album, I guess, keeps that, is she's still the coolest of all the pop girlies.
Yeah, she is.
Like all the pop girlies who are coming for that, Oscar song spot.
Mhm.
She's the coolest one still. She still has that cool factor. And I think she has cool factor with other artists. Like I said before, in 2017, on the internet, like Billie was a thing. Like there was your album could have been Billie Eilish in 2017, 2016, before she blew up. So to see her blow up and keep that cool factor, I think it's something that these other pop girlies don't have, and maybe never will have.
Yeah, I think the closest is Dua Lipa when she had the baby on that one song.
Yeah, yeah.
on Levitating.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see Billie Eilish, like people, like I said, New Jeans sees Billie Eilish and like, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
She's cool with Tyler, the Creator. She's cool with like this whole, like this young cadre of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks she's cool because of her. It's either her fashion,
Mm-hmm.
either her music, or either the people that she pays homage to explicitly.
Yeah.
Explicitly. Yeah. Like I remember when Tyler, the Creator, said like the urban category,
Mm-hmm.
you know, was like, you know, there was like a racial connotation to that, and she was like, she co-signed it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
So she is somebody that is cool. She is a coolness factor for her that is that's stuck, you know, and I think that to be a white artist that is continuously making non-black music for black people to be like, her over there,
we still rock with her.
We still rock with her. That's an accomplishment. Not everybody can be Haley Williams, bro.
No. She. I was gonna say she's in that pantheon. We see the soundbite segment at some point. She's in the pantheon of white women who the black community rocks with.
Yeah.
Celine Dion, Adele.
Yeah.
Haley Williams.
Yeah.
She is in that group, and I think her being well respected musically allows all that to happen. I think everyone who knew about her before was like, okay, this young woman could write, and I think like. It's hard to go the other way around.
Yeah.
Become really popular and then become well respected. It's like it's easier to be well respected first, and then everyone's happy that you're becoming really popular.
Yeah, you know who needs her to write for them?
Who?
Drake. Drake is dying for Billie Eilish to write some songs for him because I think he's starting to the pen is starting to run out of ink.
I don't think so.
When it comes to like his like R&B tracks, yeah. Depends on nodding.
I don't think we want to hear Drake go down that road.
We also need to actually forget it. We need to protect all women against Drake right now, especially the young ones. She's 22. She's 22. I looked it up. She's 22. She turns 23 in December. Okay. We need to make sure that people are safe.
Yes.
So maybe stay away from Drake.
The cover. I think she has such an interesting history of covers.
They're so cool.
I like this one. I think it's very, very interesting. I like the colors, the blues. Very, very deep.
Yeah, I like the concept of like the door opening. Like somehow you're falling downwards through a door.
Yeah.
Doors don't work like doors are not like that. Doors don't face down.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool thing that she did. It looks like she's falling, but it also kind of, if you turn the album like sideways, it almost looks like she's kind of like doing a Matrix like move into the door, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that again, like all her other covers, they're pretty cool. I feel like her artistic vision when it comes to her her visual presentation to the world, she is like mastered that, I think.
Yes.
When it comes to what she wears, the album covers, the hair, jewelry, everything. I feel like she's mastered that.
She's always had that, and that's something I'm happy that has stayed around with her blowing up is her aesthetic and her look. Like that's something she's always had since the beginning.
Yeah, and
to see that remain despite all the stylists and everything else. So,
I thought she was gonna lose it when Happier Than Ever came out because then she was like in a bodice, right? Or a corset. Yeah, and she was like basically in a lingerie set and blonde hair, and I'm like, no, we're losing her.
Yeah.
She's about to leave.
I thought so too, honestly. I was like, this is the end.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the end. I do think at some point it will change because I think that there almost is like a convergent point when it comes to being a popular artist as a woman, where it's like, okay, like I'm not gonna be the tomboy forever. I will show up as sexy at some point.
Yeah.
So I think that time is coming where we will see whether it's cheeks or something on the cover. I do think that day is coming.
She's buxom, and I think that's something that she's like tried not to show, explicitly.
Yeah.
Right. So there's probably going to be a moment. I mean, there was that one Instagram picture where she literally was taking a picture from like down here. And literally just. But whatever. I guess eventually there's going to be something where
this is why you watch on YouTube. The demonstration Démar just did. That's why you watch on YouTube.
Everybody knows the photo that I'm talking about. It's still up on her Instagram. It's not like it's hidden or something.
No, it's not hidden. But I think that's coming. I do think there is going to be a time where it's going to look like a Kali Uchis cover.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. Is this a vinyl cop for you?
No. I would
Okay.
say it's a pretty resounding no, actually, unfortunately. I just don't think it's there for it's not
Mhm.
there yet. Do you think
Mhm.
it's a no? Is it a final cut for you and a no skips? I don't think it's a no skips.
Nah, no for both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the moment that we've all been waiting for, some people dread it, some people love it. The score,
Mhm.
Adriel, what is your score for Hit Me Hard and Soft
Hit Me Hard and Soft,
by Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish. I think this is her fourth studio album. I guess third if you're not counting
Yeah, that one's an EP, I
the
think.
EP. This is to me the 6.
Okay.
I think this album is good, and that's it. We're not going to take any steps above that. I like the experimentation on here at certain points,
Mhm.
and I think she's still shooting 100% from the field when she experiments.
Me too.
Give her something new to try. She's one of those people. She's going to do good at it every single time. I do think that the direction on here is kind of misguided, and that score being as good as it is based on her talent and her writing, her and Phineas, of course. But to me, this is a 6. This might be my least favorite of all her projects, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And for your worst project to me to be a 6 is pretty high praise. But this one is just a 6 for me. 6 out of 10. Hit Me Hard and Soft. Guaranteed to not be in our top 10 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately. You kind of have to be like an 8 or above to make it into that. I am going to say for Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft, this is a 6 out of 10. I think that the songwriting is carrying.
Mm-hmm.
It's carrying because the production slip ups they're pretty bad. I think that her trying to make her music more center, and when I say center, I mean like just like, very digestible, like plain white beigeness is a brutal mistake in her artistry. And I think anything like doing literally anything but that will be amazing for her. Again, the things that made her popular were divergent from anybody else, what they were doing. It was quiet, it was dark, it was like mysterious, weird production. And everybody loved it, won a ton of awards for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
She had critical acclaim. There was a commercial play on Bad Guy, and she was getting, again, the white rubber stamp when it was coming to the Grammys. So for her to desert that, the artisticness, and to make it more digestible is a mistake because everybody showed up when it was weird and cool.
Yeah.
Don't make it bland and boring, okay? Because we showed up for the weird and coolness. Don't try to make it regular. You're not regular. So don't try to do that.
You're trying to fit in and you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't. Because everybody thinks you not fitting in was the cool part. We have enough Dua Lipa. There's enough Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Okay? Enough Lana Del Rey.
Mm-hmm.
Be Billie Eilish. Don't try to be anybody else. Do the weird shit. Because those are the best sounding songs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is to me. Songwriting is fantastic, though. Vocalization is awesome. She's an amazing vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny that she is like known as like a whisper singer, but then she has like, What Was I Made For, which is like a ballad. So.
I feel like the whisper singing, something that she's being known for, is new because I never thought of her as whisper singer back in 2017, 18.
Yeah, at the very, very beginning, no.
Yeah, I think that's something she's brought in. And I think you said she's making these wrong decisions in terms of direction. I think that comes from her being so versatile and having people like all these different songs because as an artist, how do you know which is the one? If I do this song over here and it gets 800 million streams and this song gets 800 million streams, which direction am I choosing? Yeah. Which we're saying, listen, choose whatever you want because whatever you want is going to work. Yeah. As long as it's actually something interesting. So I think I believe in her to, course correct.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think she's gonna figure it out. I don't think this is gonna be. I don't see us giving her another 6. I think it's gonna be up from here.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I think this is the down point for Billie Eilish, unfortunately.
Yeah, Billie Eilish fans, let us know in the comments. What's your favorite song from this project? Is a 6 too low? And I want to rank this project in Billie Eilish's discography. Where would you rank this project? I think I've said how I feel about it. I think it's clear to see where Démar is with it, but let us know. Are we tripping? Is this the best she's ever made? I would think not.
I would love to hear that, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna get awards though, because it's Billie Eilish.
I think this one's gonna miss out on some awards. I'm to be honest with you.
Maybe not album of the year, but maybe.
I think it's gonna miss out on some awards.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I think this is not the year for Billie. But she is one of the Grammys' favorite white women.
Exactly.
So
we'll see.
You never know. Leave us a rating and a review on all your podcast platforms. 5 stars, not a single star less. Of course, find us on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod, on Twitter at Album Mode Pod, on TikTok at Album Mode Pod, on Instagram. Last but not least, on YouTube at Album Mode. Like this video, share it with your people, leave us a comment, and of course, make sure you're subscribed. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.